What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Mr. Bitcoin Maxi. Now, today I find myself looking at my channel and I think to myself, looking at my analytics. And it's interesting what I found is when I put my thumbnails up, as opposed to when I originally started uploading on my channel, it seems like the scripts that I have, the ones where I script my videos as opposed to just me talking one-on-one with you all like this, kind of just a sitting down and kind of just shooting the stuff, if you know what I mean. And so I'm going to start making my videos like this because it seems like that it resonates more with you all as opposed to me scripting my videos, which would make sense because I'm more of somebody that's a realist. I like being real and just being me and my authentic self. Okay. Now, one thing I want to talk about in this video is something that I'm noticing online. And my light fell down. Now I'm noticing something on a trend online where it was last night I was going to bed and it was on Facebook. Okay. Why is this light not? It was a trend on Facebook that's going on. And even YouTube, where a lot of people think that Bitcoin is a scam. And so now, before I get into this, I'm not throwing any shade at somebody's channel. I'm not throwing any type of hate at anybody's channel. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. However, I don't know if you've all ever heard of him, Big Ward the Genius. I like listening to his channel. He's got a lot of good insights about life and things like that. I'm a supporter of his channel. And something caught my eye with the video that said, "I told you so, but you didn't listen, Bitcoin crash." Now, again, I'm not throwing any shade at anybody. However, it was a healthy debate. But it just sucks because I missed the live session where I could have requested to come up. And one thing that I found interesting, a lot of people think that you don't own Bitcoin when you buy it. It's true to an extent. Now, when you buy Bitcoin, you leave it on an exchange, you technically own it, but you don't own it. Because if the exchanges go down or something happens with the exchange, then you don't own it. And then Big Ward goes into this conversation talking about he was thinking, well, who made this? Who's this Satoshi Nakamoto? And then there's been rumors out there. I haven't really looked into that part of it, but supposedly I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, but it's C, and then you have a dot, and then you have an I, and then a dot, and then an A. Okay? For all of you know that where I'm getting at with this. Now, a lot of people say that Satoshi Nakamoto is a Japanese word or something like that for that. Now, the thing is that what really caught my attention when Big Ward talked about this was he said, well, what if they turn it off? What if they turn the network off and things like that? What if they do something like that? Or what if this was the agenda to lead everybody into that? So even me being a Bitcoin maximalist, I had to step back and think, that's an interesting take, because we all think that for us Bitcoin maximalists, we understand how Bitcoin works. However, there is some truth that we don't know who made it. And it could be true. What if it was, them, who I said earlier with the 3 letters? What if they did make it? What if they did? The only issue that I have, and the argument that I have, or the healthy debate I have in this, is that even if they did, eventually this is where we're moving towards, which is digital currency. And so even on your bank, right? Even your bank. Everything is logged, everything is transacted. Government can go in and they can look at your transactions. And so this is just the way everything's moving towards. In my opinion, a lot of people don't might not want to hear this. However, this is my opinion, and we're all entitled to our own. That's what makes healthy debates. However, if that is really what really is going on, in my opinion, you're not going to be able to stop it. That's just my take on it. And so some people might disagree with this. Some people might agree with this, but this is the good thing about life is we're all our own individual person. Now, a lot of people right now can't even save money in Bitcoin because they're having a tough time paying bills. They're having a tough time even making ends meet. And so a lot of my videos that I structure are around how much you should accumulate by your income bracket. And so that with that being said, it's important to recognize that going into Bitcoin, a lot of people see crashes as negative, but that's the opportunity you can go in to buy more. And this is why on my channel I stress to not go in and just put all of your money into it. So if it crashes, you have to liquidate your money or your Bitcoin. It's not meant to do that. It's meant to be a safe haven asset, kind of like gold and silver, where gold and silver are seen as long-term store of value. Some people might say it's an investment. Some people might say it's not an investment. That it's just a hedge against inflation. In my opinion, that's the same thing with Bitcoin. All right. So I want to show you guys this video, what I'm talking about. Now, again, I'm not throwing any shade at anybody. This was a healthy debate I thought was interesting that I want to show you all. And so I support his channel. Go on there and support his channel. Please don't throw any shade at him because I really like his content.
I come from Soundview Projects. And in the hood, what we say is if you let somebody talk long enough, they tell on themselves. You know that? You remember that saying, Big Ward? Yeah. So, I don't want to tie Big Ward up too long because I know he a business owner. He got to do what he got to do. But let me address you real quick. You do not own Bitcoin. You don't. Coinbase owns your Bitcoin. No, they don't. My Bitcoin's not on Coinbase. You bought it through a centralized. Hold on. You bought it through a centralized platform, didn't you? Yeah, but then I brought it in self-custody. I hold the private keys to my Bitcoin. Okay, you hold the private keys, but you don't. But even though you hold your private keys, you can't do nothing without Coinbase. Yeah, I can. No, you can't. You can. If I can crypto. Hold on, brother. Take Big Ward in Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin, Big Ward, I can tip you in Bitcoin. All you got to do is have a wallet, and I can send you Bitcoin, and it'll be in your wallet in like in 10 minutes. You can, but the government knows exactly your transaction that you made too. Yeah, it's on the ledger. It's on the blockchain. Yeah. It's on the blockchain, right? But they know what you did. So you don't you're promoting Bitcoin, but you don't know how Bitcoin works. I'm not promoting Bitcoin. I'm just saying that it's the best savings technology there is. Okay. You can show me Bitcoin. Let me tell you what I can show you. I practice what I preach. I can show you one gold nugget. Well, one gold ounce. Here goes another one. Yeah, I get it. Here goes another one. You can't show me. You can't show me a Bitcoin. What happens? What happens when? You want to borrow some more? What happens when gold price goes up? You know what happens? I'm not worried about that. No, I'm just saying. Do you know what happens? I'm not worried about that because the price that you actually see is not what you're actually getting. Right. I forget what it's called, but yeah, when you go to buy, there's a premium, and when you go to sell, there's a premium. You're gonna lose. But no. When the price of gold goes up, they dig more gold out of the ground. Pardon me? It's called derivatives. So this is how it works, because you don't know. It's called the paper market. You're going by a number of the paper market and the futures market. Big Ward, you doing this on the phone or you doing this on a laptop? Laptop. Can I screen share something to you real quick, brother? If it's okay with you? Yeah, fine. Okay, let me move you over to this other monitor real quick over here.
Now, a lot of people think that when you go to buy gold and silver, right, you can't be tracked. However, if you use a bank account, if you use a debit card, whatever, it can still be tracked. It's the same thing. Now, The thing with gold is, my argument with gold is that if I want to go onto a plane or if I want to leave the country with gold, it's going to be hard for me to get on a plane, especially if you have a big, huge box. And I've collected gold and silver, and it's very heavy. Depending on how much you get, it's very heavy. And so I can see both sides of the fence here, where people say that, well, Bitcoin, nobody knows what it is, it's a scam. And the thing is that I remember Michael Saylor said that everybody gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. And so my ultimate thing is that, yes, ultimately we don't know who created Bitcoin. However, there's a 50-50. Either it is used to track everybody and what they're doing, which it's already implemented like that. So whether you're buying gold or silver, it's irrelevant. So another thing is that if if the 50% is not, and it was actually these cypherpunks that made Bitcoin to get ahead. So for people that can actually save in Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, and they get a better return than anything else in the world, then that's a good thing. So it's a 50-50, right? You're either going to be a part of the 50-50 on one side, or you're going to be a part of the 50-50 on another side. And so the ultimate thing that I want you all to take away from this is you need to study Bitcoin and understand what it is. And now I'm not throwing shade at anybody, because I was a healthy debate I watched. There was more in it that I should have covered. However, I want to keep it, to a minimum on trying to take somebody else's content or whatever. But I encourage you all to go watch it. It was a good debate, so I could see both sides of the fence on it. And so you have to understand that Bitcoin maximalists, most of them, have taken the time to actually understand what Bitcoin is, and it just clicks with Bitcoiners, okay? And so when you put Bitcoin on a cold wallet, nobody can take it. Nobody can take it. And unlike gold or silver, right? Where gold and silver, somebody busts in your house, they could easily take it. And if people think that it's safe inside of a safe, it's not. My grandmother passed away, and my stepfather got into my grandmother's safe with a saw. And it was a pretty good size safe. So let me just say that. So ultimately, there's pros and cons to everything. And there's pros and cons to buying gold. There's pros and cons to buying silver. There's pros and cons to buying Bitcoin. But ultimately, the returns historically have showed better with Bitcoin as opposed to gold, silver, real estate. You can buy Bitcoin right now, and it's giving you better returns than real estate. So I want to come on and make this video. I thought it was very interesting stuff that I've been seeing online with people saying that Bitcoin is a scam and Bitcoin is just pixie dust. That's another one that I've been seeing a lot, is Bitcoin is pixie dust. So before we close this out, my argument is that my healthy debate with Bitcoin is that I know how many Bitcoin are out there, right? And already there's 21 million, and already a bunch are lost in circulation, and more are just going to constantly be being lost and gone, because people are going to lose their keys. Things are just going to happen. And so I don't know how much gold is out there. I don't know how much silver is out there. Yes, they can use it for industrial purposes. Yes, you can use gold as a metal for your chain, or or your watch. However, you could still melt it, right? You could still melt it and reuse it. But Bitcoin, you can actually use it to send from one person to another across the world. It's a store of value, and there's only 21 million. And that's what I like about it. And so a lot of people think that, well, it can be tracked online. It can be tracked. Well, the thing is that most everything can be tracked now. You moving around with your smartphone, going out wherever, you're being tracked. Your phone is being pinged by the towers. So they know where you're at all times. So it doesn't really matter. And so whether you want to adapt to this or not is ultimately up to people.
And so I don't know what else to tell people, but I thought it was a good, healthy debate. Like again, I said we're all entitled to our own opinions, and I'm Mr. Bitcoin Maxi. We're all Bitcoin Maxis, and I hope you all have a good day.